Okay, here we go.
World of Warcraft, did I get that right? Is that
That's correct,
role?
yep.
Lead
Yep, that's my
combat
current
designer.
role.
Fantastic.
Yes, correct, yep.
Fantastic. How you doing today, Brian?
Good, good, thank you. It's a kind of a gray sky day, rare gray sky day here in Southern
It's on
California.
Mr. GM's channel.
Happy to be
Mr.
here.
GM on
Happy
Twitch.
to be chatting with you.
Give him some
It's
support.
every single day in the UK. I tell you.
Yeah.
That's our summer. That's how it is here.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got a lot about like the Evoker and things like that. So I guess we'll
Cool.
we'll just dive into it. So
Great.
my first one is with the Evoker coming obviously in Dragonflight. What kind of raid utility or dungeon utility are we kind of looking at for the Evoker?
You know, that's something we're still designing. We have a number of ideas, but you know, it's interesting because it's always tough for any class to find, you know, a unique raid utility. Or sometimes what we'll hear with some of the hybrid classes is, oh, you know, the unique utility our class provides, the tank version provides to the class, so they don't bring the DPS, or vice versa if the DPS is performing well. So always
like
a hard
Warriors
problem
with Rally
for us
and
to
Cry.
find. They have great hybrid healing. We're also kind of playing with a raid buff called Blessing of the Bronze. It reduces cooldowns of each player's major movement ability, and it's like, you know, things like blank or heroic leap or sprint, and so that's something, you know,
That's cool.
similar
I like
to
that.
the priest ability that reduces
Hoppy
the
boy?
holy priest ability that reduces defensive cooldowns, and so that's something we're experimenting with. You know, it could be valuable for flights with a lot of movement,
CDR, yeah.
or a Mythic Plus when you're really trying to push your keys and
We love
get moving
CDR.
through the dungeon quickly. So that's something we're kind of experimenting with now, but you know, I think we'll see a lot of feedback from people once alpha and beta start, and we'll kind of act accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun just to dive into those that class and race for the very first time. It's always super exciting in the alpha and beta stages. It changes so much all the time as well, which is always fun to mess around with. So I guess,
I mean, if you think of like Havoc Demon Hunter, I don't know that Darkness came online right away. I remember that being something we had to add to the game a bit later. So new things are always iterative.
Yeah,
You should give Demon Hunters a range spec.
So I
That'd
guess
be cool.
I haven't seen this question asked, and I don't know why, but I'm going to ask it. What resource do they use?
Oh,
So they have Essence, which kind of represents their innate prismatic magic,
Okay.
and it regenerates on its own. So they have, you know, different
Like
this
energy?
essence that they use for different abilities, and so they don't generate it; it just kind of is working in the background, and then they spend it in time.
Oh,
Okay.
Interesting. So a brand new resource for the Evoker. That's exciting.
that's a good question. I never even thought of
I
that.
guess racials as well for the Dracthyr Evoker. What are we kind of looking at there?
That's me, not you guys.
A couple things. It's interesting because they're this race class combo. It's like, well, you know, sometimes you lose track. What part is the class? What part is the race?
Yeah.
But their racials right now are Wing Buffet. I mean, they have big wings, right? So they have
knock you
kind of
back?
cone knockback, as you would expect.
Oh, wow.
Tail Swipe. They have their big, cool dragon tails, and it felt like that's something you're going to want to
They
do
have
something
two active
with.
abilities?
So it has kind of like a PB AoE knockup. And then
Maybe they're
Chosen
interchangeable.
Identity, which, you know, changes the appearance of your visage form at the barbershop for free.
Right.
You know, we feel like, you know, their visage form is something that they're magically changing into. So that's something they can do at any time.
That would make sense.
And there's some others that were in early development, but we're not really ready to talk about them just yet.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I guess getting them ready for when they turn to a warrior eventually, right?
I like that.
I guess
They should
I'll
be
throw this
warriors,
one in there,
by the way.
actually, as you mentioned, the forms. Is
Obviously.
there like a custom animation between them, kind of changing from dragon to mortal form?
That's something we're still working on. I can't really. It's not necessarily, you know, when you remember Morgan, like, you know, doing this whole bestial like come out.
Yeah,
it's not that same type of thing. You know, if you think about the cinematic where Rathian
Transformation
is kind of
animation.
going back and forth between the dragon form and the human form, it's kind of like a puff of smoke.
It's a cloud.
So,
Okay, yeah,
you know,
got
obviously we're going to do a treatment on it, but I don't believe there's any like animations of like wings popping back in and tails disappearing. It's more of a magic thing.
Yeah, it makes sense. I guess as their healer spec, is there anything like any similar healers to them in the way that they play as such? Would you say?
Oh, okay. Maybe mystery?
You know, as with everything, we
don't
try
know.
to kind of have something distinct. they're this kind of mid-range mobile healer, and they kind of triage clumps of allies with their flight and breath healing. So they have both their version of
like almost like
breath,
shaman.
which is, you know, if you think of that Wrathgate cinematic where, you know, Sarah and the dragons are flying over, kind of healing everyone with their breath.
Okay,
that's
cool.
kind of the image and the vision for their big healing cooldown. And then also they have an empowered breath. And so those are the big, you know, kind of breath spray off in these clumped allies, but also they use time magic to kind of preempt damage and set up large healing moments. So there's a little bit of thought about, hey, what's coming, and how can I use this to plan? So in that way, you know, you could see it kind of being this combination of, you know, Resto Shaman who kind of likes clumped healing, and Discipline Priest that likes planning. Those kind of are two, I guess, comparisons that you could have. But really, we're trying to make it its own thing. I wouldn't say that we're trying to replace either of those. We're trying to have them stand on their own.
Ah, that's good. That's exciting. I guess you mentioned the empowered ability. That's obviously the charge up ability, right? If I'm not mistaken. I believe it's called Dream Breath. Am I
Thanks
right?
for 5 subs.
That's correct.
That's what the website says, yeah. So with that ability, if you overcharge it, can you cause it to fail?
No. So when you
right?
charge an ability, it'll get the max, and then it'll kind of stay at full power for up to 3 seconds. After that, it just fires off automatically.
It's like
so there's some applications in like doing pre-pull or threatening enemies to come out from line of sight in PvP or whatnot, where you're just holding it at max charge and waiting for them.
Oh, okay, cool. I know it's on the website as well.
One.
I don't know if it was just for the website, but there's like a new like floor animation of sorts, like on where the cone's gonna go. Is that something?
Yes, we're working on some new type of you know, imagery and decals for, hey, this is the cone, and finding something a bit unique for them, because we've done kind of experiments with Empower. We've tried a lot of things, like because, you know, thinking about this problem of like there's a cost and risk analysis of how long you hold the button down. Like, all right, I'm holding this button down, so I'm using globals to keep this down. What is the payoff, right? And so we've been playing with a lot of things, like maybe it's you know, the longer you hold it, the shorter the cooldown is, or the longer the duration of hot or dot is, or the number of targets that you hit increases. And so those are like decisions, because we don't want you to just always go to max empowerment, right? Like, if that was what there's nothing new about that.
That'd
That's
be boring.
Just a long cast time,
it's just,
right?
Yeah.
We want you to sometimes be thinking, I only want a 1 charge in power here. I only want a 2 charge in power here. I don't always want to go to max 3.
Dynamic decision making. I like that.
So yes,
that's good.
To your point, there are different unique
Preach made a video about that.
Projected textures that we're using to aim
spell ranks kind of
these abilities.
It's good analogy.
That's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I said it was a little tease of it on the website, and I thought that looked really cool. So yeah, I guess finish up with the Dracthyr. Question for you is, what are you most excited about? What's the ability, or like what it like about the Dracthyr Evoker are you most excited about?
Yeah, I have 2. I one is Soar, which is you know, you kind of burst forward a little bit, and then you're kind of hovering in the air a little bit, flapping your wings, and there are certain abilities you can cast on the move with that. And every time I soar, I mean, we'll be in our play tests, and I'm just like, more Soar. We need more Soar because this button is just so fun to play with, because, you know, that's when you're flying around, breathing, you know, launching fire from your mouth, or breathing disintegrate, and like, you know, really honing in and channeling damage into an enemy, and it just really feels like it captures that fantasy.
Yeah, it's like Demon Hunters.
And similar is you know, Deep Breath, which is,
hey,
I'm going to get up and do this kind of bombing run across the battlefield and hit a whole bunch of targets. They just, you know, I'm a big explosions guy. They say it.
That's reassuring
in the video game world, in the video game design world, where I'm just all about like the presentation and the fantasy, and I love just, you know, that makes me feel
that
like
matters
I'm
a lot, man.
now, and so I love those 2 abilities.
Got our own Michael Bay.
I think that's a class fantasy as well, right? Just you want to feel like a dragon and whatnot, which is really cool. I did actually think of another kind of on the spot question, if you don't mind. So obviously they start at 58, right? So with talent points, are you just going to start with a bunch of talent points that you have to allocate, or how's that going
Probably
to work?
gonna unlock them
for
like
the Dracthyr?
DKs, right?
We're working that out in the starting experience.
That's what I would assume.
You know, one thought is that we would be giving a lot of talent points out in the starting experience. You know, similar to how, you know, in Legion with the Demon Hunter, you were kind of going around getting you know, abilities off of the demons. It's possible. One thing we've explored is while you're questing, you're getting talent points, so that it's a little bit more measured. Because yes, that's just a lot to get all at once. And you know, you log in, you create your Dracthyr, you're totally pumped to start playing, and the first thing you do is open up the talent tree and spend 50 points. So we're looking at ways to kind of distribute that out slowly.
Yeah, I think the original Death Knight and Wrath Lich game was similar. You would get talent points from questing, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So kind of jumping into like talents, spells, classes, things like that. I ask this every single interview, every single time. Any new class race combos coming at all?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, we kind of have this direction, like a broad direction, and I don't want to make any huge promises, but we kind of feel like we want to move towards a world where the race of a character is not a limiter for what they can do or what they can become in the world of Warcraft. So we're working towards that, but not all of the races have,
It'd be like
all
Yoda.
the classes have the same
It'd be awesome.
content requirements.
What do you mean?
More of this will come over time, but immediately on 10.0, we're going to be making rogues, mages, and priests available for all races. So everyone will be able to go out and make their sneaky Tauren rogue, who will be, you know, tiptoeing on their little hoofs all around.
Oh my God!
Yes, all those will be.
Oh my God!
10, with, you know, general intentions for us to look at more options down the line, but immediately upon 10.0 launch, you'll be able to make change your rogue.
I'm sold. Where do I pre-order?
Any class combination you want.
That is.
It can be any race.
That is awesome.
That's certainly
I'll be
something.
remiss to ask about like Night Elf Paladins and things like that. I know a lot of the Paladin community want a lot more Paladins. I hear that a lot.
Don't worry about Paladin.
But
as I was saying, like you know, we're trying to move in that direction, but I think timeline is something, you know, we'll have to be flexible on, because a lot of those other classes, they have a lot of content requirements and lore requirements. You know, just to flip the switch on like Paladin or Warlock, without kind of setting some kind of grounding in the world, would be a bit strange.
That makes sense.
You know, we also, you know, we have racial chargers, we have racial totems, all those sorts of things. So druid forms. So it's gonna
that's a good point.
Take a while.
Scott, thanks for 5 subs, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna keep moving in that direction.
That's really exciting. That's really
hopefully they add
really awesome.
Yeah.
I guess with Vexil's Reach now as well, it makes it a lot easier to just kind of flip the switch on some of those as well, because you just kind of throw them in there. I did have one on talent points. So I noticed on the presentation there was a kind of a share feature as such, right? And I was just kind of curious if that's something you can share outside of the game potentially, or is that just in game for now?
Was that in the mock-up? Yeah, you know, I think that's something we've talked a lot about, and as something we would want. We think it would be very nice for, you know, players to just, you know, be able to create a string of their talent build. I don't know that we're going to be able to deliver that on 10.0 just for production reasons, whether we can get it all done in time. But we've talked a lot about sharing builds and recommended builds, starter builds. But part of it is like, you know, just laying the groundwork and the foundation of the system and seeing what problems players have or what tools would make things easier for them. You know, I would like to really see players work with it before like trying to get ahead and add a bunch of functionality that, you know, maybe we don't need
that makes sense.
People don't care about.
I think maybe that's better on a third-party site.
Just like, you know, do we want players all to really feel like they have to have 20 talent builds? You know, most players in the game now, you know, we have telemetry on it. They'll pick you know, make their choices in their talent rows, and they never, you know, change them. And so while we want there to be this sense of agency of building your character as you're leveling up, and making some interesting choices and maybe experimenting on a regular basis. You know, I don't know that we want players to feel like, you know, they've got to download the latest build on a regular basis to keep up. So you want the system to have some fun of tinkering, but not like, oh, I constantly need to be changing this thing. And so it remains to be seen just how much we'll need those types of features. So we're gonna wait and see for now.
Yep, cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I know Ian mentioned about them, you guys posting the talents out before alpha, even potentially for us to have a little look.
Yeah,
so.
That would be cool.
Our goal is
we could make it ourselves.
We're talking about the right way to do it.
Yeah,
now.
I remember doing that back in BC
and
RAF.
Available via website or blogs or
like theory
whatnot.
crafting.
Maybe work with some partners to try and get that out to people, so people can start kind of playing with them. Because even the way we work on these is I'll get in a Zoom call. Someone will share their latest talent build, and we'll all just sit there for an hour and a half or so, just making builds and tinkering with it and explaining, like, I was at this point in the talent tree and I didn't feel like I had a compelling choice, or I felt really pigeonholed into this direction. So that would be great to get from players. So finding the way to do that without necessarily releasing the whole game to do that it's in our best interest, and I think players would be excited. So we really want to work with everyone on making these great.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of feedback coming with those. It's going to be absolutely crazy as soon as they come out. I'm really looking forward to it.
No strangers to feedback. So.
I would say so.
I guess, correct me if I'm wrong. So the way that it kind of works is he's targeting talents at level 10, and you essentially like create your class as such. So you kind of like, you have kind of base abilities at level 10, and you just kind of pick and choose which ones you'd like to go from there. I guess my question is related to interrupts. Is interrupt something that's going to be baseline for all characters, or is that something you can actually opt in or out of having?
That's a good question.
I think that's going to be part of this iterative process we're talking about.
Tom, thanks for 10 subs.
Part of this is, like reframing a bit about how World of Warcraft classes are created, right? Because you're going from level 10 to 60, and you're getting like 50 talent points, right? 26 on the class side, 51 talent points, 26 on the class side, 25 on the spec side. That's a lot of talent points. And in 9.0 and every before, like we were just giving you things every level, and we can't do that and then also give you 51 talent points. Like that's
a bit much.
Very bloated classes, very complicated classes that I don't think everybody has the brain space for. And so what we're trying to do is say, well, the talent tree is how you construct your class now. And so I can understand trepidation about like, are interrupts in the tree? The way
people feel like they have to build a certain way,
and this wasn't like completely explained because we didn't have time to get really deep on all the trees. But as you spend points, you get to certain levels, which we call gates, which are like, and this is how the original talent systems were, right? It was like every, you can't go further until you spend, increments of 5 points. Well, here we have just two levels like that. And so what it kind of encourages you can't go straight to the bottom. Like right away, I'm just going straight down to the highest, best thing, and I'm getting that capstone talent at level 20, and now I have, other points to spend in the rest of the tree. You're kind of encouraged to go broad a bit, so
that's
before
smart.
You can move downwards. I think that does two things.
That's a good
idea.
idea.
It really encourages you to go broad and to say, well, cool, rather than going deep in the class tree just to get what I want, I can, I almost feel relieved. Like I can go spend talent points on some cool utility over.
It's like New World has that too.
But also, I don't have to make a choice between this, premier talent and maybe an interrupt, or earlier up in the tree, things are much more accessible, I guess is the bottom line there. And then, yes, it allows those real capstone talents to come later on. Which is nice. I think in any of these tree designs, that last talent point you spend is not always the most exciting point, at level 60, because you've kind of driven down to
you already know what it's going to be.
Points to spend. But in general, I think we're going to put as much as we can in the talent tree to make the talent trees as cool as they can. And if we find that like, no, this won't fly, we can't do a certain ability in the tree, we'll put it back in the spell book. But ultimately, we're trying as hard as we can to put as much stuff in the tree as possible.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. I mean, how many? I mean, obviously, it's going to change between classes, but how many kind of abilities are we looking at, like just baseline without, like, say at level 10? Are we saying like maybe 4 or 5 abilities by that point, just kind of regular sort of stuff?
Well, you're absolutely correct that the Exile's Reach experience, we're mostly remaining the same. So if you were to play Exile's Reach now and you know, level up to 10, the abilities that you got there are mostly the same. So players will have that core kit. But yeah, between 10 and 60. Yeah, the spell book, the spells granted from the spell book are going to be pretty sparse. Like,
so you talent into
things
them.
like Pickpocket,
oh
Ice the
shit,
Beast, Farsight.
That's a lot.
Underwater underwater
oh my god,
stuff like that. Like, we don't want you to spend a talent point on that. Yeah. We don't think you want to spend a talent point on that. Those are kind of like fun class toys. And so a lot of those things are going to be in the spell book. But
nobody pick them. People min-max it out.
Are like, major utility, you know, like rebirth or interrupts. Like, what are we going to do with those? And I just want everybody to know that those are questions we're asking because we know you're asking them, and we're having a lot of conversations about them, and we're making a lot of trees to try out different solutions.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. Just had a thought, actually. Again, we're just kind of like, I have like a list of questions and I'm like, oh, what about this?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no, ask away.
Obviously, Exile's Reach, once you reach the end of Exile's Reach, you go to the city and they tell you how to use specializations. Is that going to be being changed up?
Yeah, specializations are still a choice that you make because that reveals the second tree. And so that's something we're going to have to change in the what we call the kind of transitional experience out of Exile's Reach. But yes, you will still be making a spec choice.
Okay.
Got it.
Perfect. I did see Convoke in the Druid tree. That was there. Is there any point, or potentially any point, that there'll be like more than one Covenant ability available for one class? So say you could have like the Kyrian ability and the Venthyr ability?
Yeah, it's possible. I'm sure you could make a build. I think we have in the Resto tree,
Kyrian Warrior with Condemn.
A lot of time on the Druid tree. It was kind of our
spear
vertical slice tree. And I believe they're
oh my god,
Adaptive Swarm and Convoke might have been a possibility.
That's a lot.
So yeah, it's possible, but you're probably giving something up to do that. But it depends also on we're still kind of in discussion about how we're going to handle a lot of these Covenant abilities. Some of them, like Convoke, the Spirits or Abomination Limb, their kit feels very appropriate, where other ones don't. You know, like it just doesn't fit with the class, and so we're deciding how we're going to handle those.
Yeah. So I guess with obviously the Evoker, the Dracthyr Evoker getting a lot of love, is there any in the way for other classes to get any brand new talents, or is it going to be kind of maybe potentially things from past expansions?
What are Warriors getting?
Like that?
Yeah, certainly when we look for inspiration in these talent trees, we're going to be looking to, you know, artifacts, artifact traits, Azurite traits, you know, essences. The legendaries we just had, a lot of those will be finding their way into the trees. It'll be you know, likely that if we have new talents, they may be passive talents that have like rotational impact. There are probably going to be less flashy new on-use buttons with like big effects. I don't think we're going to see as many of those. Maybe just a handful.
Reaping Flames, give it to me. I want that.
Because when we have this a new class like Evoker, we spend as much time as we can to make sure that's like super cool. And you know, adding new effects,
gladiator
it can be a lot of time spent. So that's where we're trying to really deliver on in this expansion.
It was never balanced.
Makes sense. I mean, the class is going to feel pretty fantastic anyway, having that tree to play around with anyway, right? So it's going to be
yeah, I mean, it's going to feel, you know, like I think it'll be a very big improvement for like the leveling experience too, but we want to make sure that the max level player who's, you know, been playing the game is having a fun time experimenting with a new system.
Yep. So got a couple PvP ones, then we'll do a quick fire sort of round.
Okay.
So I think Bajira asked you about arenas and battlegrounds for Dragonflight. What about brawls?
Oh yeah.
Brawls. We've been talking about a few, and so we'd like to bring some in. there are different things. Like, it's funny. I was just talking with someone another day, just yesterday, but there's some old like free-for-all world quests, like in Legion, that were pretty fun. The Blackrook Brawl, which is kind of like a jump-in battle royale.
Jumper, I would do that with the gladiator music.
Or if you remember the old High Mall Coliseum from Warlords of Draenor, those were ideas that we were talking about. We're have grown the PvP team a bit.
Yo, I had said that.
Been onboarding lately, and so new brawls are a great way to kind of learn the tool set.
Oh my god!
So yeah, it's likely. I don't have like particulars to announce, but I do.
We
think
can't stop winning
to create new brawls here.
Yeah, I love brawls. I mean, I'm a pretty casual PvPer, but some of those brawls are a lot of fun. It's super cool.
Yeah, they're good twists.
So obviously with the new work order system coming in Dragonflight, which looks really cool, really looking forward to playing around with that. Will there be any interaction with PvP gear, potentially, similar to like in Mr. Pandaria? Used to do PvP gear through crafting?
Yes, we have
to,
two
right?
plans, and I don't want to steal too much thunder about professions and where they're going and the plans. But certainly one opportunity we think there is to make that kind of entry level PvP gear from professions. If you do remember Warlords of Draenor, and I've alluded to the Warlords of Draenor PvP gearing system in the Bajira interview, like the first entry level PvP gear was just crafted gear, and then it had a very high item level, a PvP item level, but somewhat low base PvE item level. And so that will be one way for players to get gear real fast, will be that crafted gear. But then there's also the professions, that revamp is going to be something that impacts the game, and players will PvP players will want profession gear, and we're talking about, and I don't have the very specifics of how we will integrate PvP and professions, and how players can earn profession reagents that would interact with these systems from PvP. But we're mindful of the fact that a lot of people want to focus on PvP, and so if professions are important, there will be ways to interact with that system through PvP.
That's good. That's good.
That's
I'm sure
great.
PvPers out there are pretty happy about that, because they probably saw the work order system. We're like, oh, hopefully we get to do something with that.
Yeah, hopefully you don't have to like craft really good PvP
I guess
gear or something.
The dragonflying
might be too much.
I believe it's called dragonflying, right? The kind of flying around the zone thing. The system. Will there be PvP specific unlocks for your dragon? Because I know you can customize it similar to like the barbershop sort of thing. Is there going to be any unlocks related to that?
Kind of assuming so,
yes,
right?
Certainly the gladiator mount is going to be a custom Dragon Isle Drake. So we didn't want players to have to choose between, like, should I wear my, should I be flying around on my gladiator mount, or should I be flying around on my super awesome Dragon Isle Drake? And so the way that gladiator mounts are going to work in the expansion are going to be a prestigious version of those drakes that you can apply. So that'll be really cool.
Oh my god, that's so good.
For other ways that we're kind of like, we always have.
They should do the same for Mythic Plus.
What we call the vicious mounts, the rated participation mounts. And so I'm not. I would have to look at the specifics of what we're doing there, but those are typically ground mounts, so they won't likely. There'll be some of the one of the cool creatures that you see around. Actually, now I think of the one it is, and it's pretty sweet. Actually, it's pretty funny. Every time those vicious mounts come out, people are like, people on the team who don't PvP are messaging me like, I got a PvP next season because that mount is just so amazing. So, but those are.
They had a few really good ones,
and we're going to keep that.
Like the hippo.
So
I remember
it's
him.
going to be a vicious otter mount. That's incredible, Brian.
That's
thanks
right.
for confirming.
Vicious war otter.
Believe me, if there's a possibility of getting a vicious duck, I will ask for it.
Oh my god.
Oh my fuck.
So running low on time. Quick fire round, I guess. Yes, no, or,
sure.
or if you can expand on it a little bit more. So first and foremost is, can we make more than one Dracthyr Evoker per realm, as it's a hero class?
I want to get the specifics on this, because I know this will be a big deal. So this won't be so I'm immediately not making it fast.
Okay.
This round, hold on. I do have this written down. I want to make sure I get the specifics correct. Wait, where is it? So initially, yes, it's going to be one. Apparently I didn't copy this over. So the first Dracthyr per account has no restrictions other than having bought Dragonflight.
Okay.
Additional Dracthyr beyond the first one can only be created on a server where someone already has a level 50 character and does not have a Dracthyr. So initially, it's only going to be
okay. So it's one per server.
Dracthyr per realm.
Okay.
Okay. Excellent.
And obviously, if you delete a Dracthyr, you can make a new one.
Yeah.
But yes, so everybody gets to make a Dracthyr.
Yeah, it makes sense. Sure.
The first, if you want to make a second one, you have to be level 50, and then it's only one per realm.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks for confirming.
Yeah.
New glyphs for evokers? Will there be glyphs?
I'm sure there will be.
Yeah. Race-specific mount. Do you know if they have a race-specific mount?
They are
the flying mount. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
there it is.
What we got? PvP World Quest returning. Dragonflight. I would imagine so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And last one. I've had a million warriors in my DMs, and I'll be remiss to ask this. Will Gladiator Stance come back? They keep asking me. I just non-stop.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I
Wow.
don't think so. It was problematic in terms of,
Gearing.
you know, when
Bonus
we have
armor.
roles now, and you're declaring that you're a tank, and then you come in and say, I'm not actually a tank, I want to do TPS, that's problematic.
Yeah.
So I don't see a world where we start saying tank classes can just pick a talent and their role has changed to DPS.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's the way the game works right now, and so but I understand the vision that they have, and what we could work on is just talents that maybe let
That's
them do
why
a
I said
little
they need a
extra
fourth
DPS
spec
at the cost of mitigation, but
yeah, that's why I
ultimately
said
their role is tank.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Brian. I appreciate taking the time this morning to answer some of those questions, and good luck with development. I'll see you in Alpha.
Thank you.
And,
Great.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good day.
Great meeting you. Great
You
chat.
too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
that was again MrGM. Shout out to him for doing the interview.
Hello?
It was a good interview. Yeah, I thought that went pretty well. Yeah, good job. Good job, man. You did well, and I think those were good questions. Especially the last question. The last question was incredibly important, okay? Like the Gladiator, I think if they're going to do Gladiator stance, they have to do it with a separate character. Or, sorry, a separate spec. Having it be like this weird middle ground thing, excuse me, is just, it sucks, right? I'm not about it. I'm not into it, right? That's it. You know what that reminded me of, by the way? We are going to have a competition. I don't have an overlay for the interview. And the interview is in an hour and a half. Is there somebody who can make me an overlay? I just found out I was doing this 2 days ago. I don't have an overlay. Does anybody have an overlay at all for this? Yeah, oh my god, I need to get one. Like, pro streamer, by the way. Yeah, I just didn't even think of it. Like, I was like, oh my god, I haven't done this. Like, this is... Just write Asmongold on your head? Okay, fine. I get Ian to write Ian on his head? That'd be a good idea. I'm sure he'd really like that a lot. Yeah, hairline overlay. Yeah, I just need one. It has like the 2 frames. And it just says like WoW Dragonflight, my name, his name, etc. Right? Like, that's it. Like, I don't need anything crazy. Just something very, very simple. How can I send it to you? Just post it on my Reddit or send it to one of my mods, okay? That's all it's gonna take. I need to do that. I totally fucking forgot.